So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for attending. My name is Ben Groves. I am a sales operating analyst at Insurance Advisors Direct. If you are not currently already with IAD, please contact us to talk about the opportunities such as access to TrustyCare that we have for you. Today is the first day of a two-part TrustyCare training. Both of these webinars will be recorded and can later be viewed on IAD's YouTube channel. Please feel free to type your questions into the chat function or the Q&A down below, and we'll answer those as they're coming up, or we will save some time afterwards for Q&A. Do keep in mind that tomorrow's webinar has a different agenda from today, so make sure to tune in tomorrow as well. Again, this is going to be recorded, and you are all placed on mute for the time being. So I'm now going to kick it over to the good people of TrustyCare.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, everybody, for joining this afternoon. My name is Allison, and I'm the Director of Customer Success with Trusty. I've got Clayton with me. He can introduce himself with his role.
I'm the Director of Customer Support and the trainer.
Awesome. So thanks everybody for joining this afternoon. Like Ben said, I think you all are all on mute, but we would love for this to be interactive. So put questions in the chat, Q&A we'll have at the end. We do want to make sure that all your questions get answered during this training session. So this slide right here just gives a high-level overview of the platform of Trusty Select Pro and the process that you would complete from entering in your beneficiary all the way to a direct enrollment. So you'll enter your beneficiaries in, get their medications, pharmacies, doctors, all of that information loaded in. You'll collect your scope of appointment, then you'll run your quote and compare, and then you will complete your direct enrollment. So again, this is just a very high level overview of beginning to end. All right, this is the agenda for today's session. So we'll start out with beneficiaries, the beneficiary list. We'll highlight some of our new release items with a new filter that was added, the ability to export your book of business, and just walking through how to enter a single beneficiary and get their information loaded. Then Clayton will go into running a quote using those different filters, and then how to run a quote for MedSup, MAPD, and PDP. Then he'll show you the plan comparisons and recommendations, how to use those functions, and then what's included in the beneficiary profile on that page. All right, Clayton.
All right. I recognize a few of the names in the panel here, and it's good to see you guys again, even though I can't see you, but we're going to have some fun. So the first thing we're going to talk about is beneficiaries. We're going to talk about the beneficiary list. As Allison said, we have added a couple of new features that I'm excited to talk to you about. So the first thing here, let me go into Trusty Select Pro. So after you log in, this is the screen you come to, and I like to call this like the gathering place. Okay, so this is where all your beneficiaries come to have a good time. So in here, the options here on the left-hand side, you'll see I can select multiple beneficiaries, or I can select them all. This is the new feature that I want to point out. And we get this question a lot. Hey, can I print my book of business, or can I export it? Yes, you now can. So select all your beneficiaries over here on the left, then you click export, and then you'll say, okay, do you want to do the book of business? Or you can even do in bulk up to 80, because these are all PDFs, and it's very server intensive. So we had to break those up a little bit, but you can print all of your beneficiary details. So that would be the doctors, pharmacies, medications, all of their demographic information as well, all in one swoop. Okay. And what that will do is zip everything up into a zip file, and then you can extract the ones that you want from that zip folder in your system. The book of business, when I do this export, it's going to bring all of my beneficiaries up on the screen in an Excel document. Okay, so you can do all of them, you can do some of them, but that's kind of how that works. That is now available to you. Again, how I got there is by clicking these boxes, and then you have that export piece here. Okay. I also have an email function where if you want to, you can send out a bulk medication update email right now as you all are preparing for AEP, at least I hope you are. Now is when you're starting to gather all of those medications, and this email will go out to your clients and it will ask them to update your medications. I just lost my train of thought as I was looking over at the agenda, making sure I'm on cue. But that will prompt them to update their medications for you. Now, up at the top of this screen, you can type in the beneficiary name of who you're searching for. This is based on a string of characters. So if you come in here and you type really fast, you might see that it misses a letter or something. That's because you got to give it a moment here, because it's actively searching as you are typing in letters. It's not like you're typing a document where you're just going to go through it real fast. Just give it a little bit as it goes. You'll get used to kind of how that search functions, and that's pretty similar to every search functionality out there. You do have and this one here, you can search by first name, last name. It doesn't matter. It's going to search the letter string. Okay, so if I put ALL for Allison, it's going to search first name, last name, whatever for ALL. Now, up here at the top, you have filters. So if you want to search by a specific, let's say, zip code, you can do that, and it will pull up all of those with the zip code, let's say 49321. I select it, and there I have one, but it would pull up everybody in that particular filter that I selected. To get rid of that, I click the X, and then I look at, I can do by plan type, if I want Advantage, PDP, MedSup, if I want to look at the lead status. So I do want to point out, this is a manual update here for the lead status, and as you go into AEP, or outside of AEP as well, when you're working with your clients, it's really good to make this a habit to flip these toggles, okay? Because you're going to be able to come into the office, or if you work from home or whatever, you'll be able to log in and say, okay, these are in progress. I want to focus on all that are in progress right now. And that's going to give me all of mine that are in progress. I can focus in right then and there. And then as I do this, and let's say this one finished out, I enrolled them, see how they dropped off my list. So that kind of helps you go through kind of a task list as you go through AEP, because it will also help you with the metrics that I'm going to show, I think tomorrow, if we have that in there. Now, the other thing too is we have the application status, and we also have the application ID. The application status, when you have a submission that goes through, it will flip to application submitted. And then you can, if you need to reach out to the carrier or something like that, or the health plan, this application ID will show right there. And this is a new feature that we just added as well. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do, if I could, let me talk about the actions menu really fast. So the actions menu here allows you to send that email invite. Again, remember the medication update. You can do that by clicking email. You have the medication update, instant plan and RX review, and then a custom email that's kind of in the process of it's functional, but I would probably recommend using your email for that as well. But you do have the ability to send directly out of Trusty Select Pro as well. Medication update email, for example, right there. If you do want to add documents, add a note, send a scope of appointment, or enroll, you would do that through the actions menu. And we will talk about each one of these as we go through training, okay? Is there any questions so far? I think I see one in there, Allison. Is there?
We've got one that says, can we do the medication, like the RX request, which I'm thinking is the medication update, prior to collecting a scope of appointment?
I believe so. Ben, you might want to tie in on that one as well. I believe that it's once you start discussing plans, gathering information is not discussing the plans at that point. It's just preparing for that particular visit. But once you start discussing plans and quoting and stuff, Ben, do I have that right?
Yeah, I think this question though is more pertaining to is TrustyCare capable? Like, is there an error that will pop up if you try to do it before the scope? Like, I know you can't do the enrollment until the scope is in place.
Nope, you can send those out, those
Okay.
requests. The only limiter on that is what you touched on, and that's the enrollment.
Mhm.
Yep. All right, any other questions before I go in and add a beneficiary? Okay.
Nothing at the moment.
All right. Okay, we'll continue here. So I'm going to add a beneficiary by clicking on the add beneficiary. This is going to give me 3 options here. These bottom 2, I'm not going to talk about specifically today, but you do have the opportunity, if you're new coming in, you can import all of your book of business at one time by utilizing this template, and then you upload it here. If you're updating a ton of information for every one of your beneficiaries, what I've had some customers in the past is they will download this template and then update and then re-import it, and then it will update those specific beneficiaries. But we'll talk about all that, I believe, tomorrow. Actually, we don't have that on there. I do have a video that talks about the bulk upload, and we can point you to that. Allison will be covering that. So I'm going to add a single beneficiary at this time. I'm going to click on add beneficiaries, single beneficiary. And this is going to bring up a form that I will fill out. I'm basically creating the profile at this point. Okay, so I'm going to type in, Ben, you're my subject today. What's the good zip code for you, Ben?
48375.
Okay, thank you for not playing solitaire and paying attention. All right. Okay, notice what I did on that email. This is just kind of a little tip and trick for you as a broker. If you have somebody that doesn't have an email, or if you're out here just doing what I'm doing, where you're just testing the system out, don't use the actual email that you use to log into the system, because that could potentially cause issues with your logins, tripping over each other. So notice what I did is I did my actual email is Clayton@Trusty.care, but I added Clayton and then the plus sign, first and last name, and then the normal @Trusty.care. So in Trusty Select Pro, it thinks that that's a separate email, but the email service provider ignores from the plus sign to the @ sign. Okay, so you will still get emails to that. Okay, so that's a tip and trick that will allow you to, if you want to play in the system, you can, by adding beneficiaries and stuff without any issues, and you can test the emails and see how they look and all that stuff. Okay, so date of birth, if you notice, there is a little I up on the top of that date of birth. If you hover on any of these fields that have an I, that is going to just give you a pop-up, and it's going to tell you more about what that specific field means. The effective date is current month +1, so it does fall on September 1st. The legal gender and the tobacco use is for your med sub. At this point, we don't know if you're going to be doing a med sub, so we do require that first off so that we can gather those quotes later. If you do want to include the IRMA pricing as well, or the IRMA adjustment, you can do that here by selecting the income range, or a lot of brokers like to leave that separate as well. We include that just in case you want to, but this will, if you put that range in, it will add that premium adjustment to that as well, if you wanted to give them a holistic cost. But if not, you can just say select your individual income range there. The current plan, if you're entering them as a new beneficiary in your system and they say, yeah, my current plan is, I just have a PDP and it is WellCare. Okay, I can put that in, and then there's my current plan. Okay, that's going to come in handy. If they don't have it with them, or they can't remember, then it will come in later as well. So if you're on the phone with them, you just want to get their base information, you can do that here and worry about that later. If you are just creating a profile in the system, you're not ready to add medications and stuff, you can just hit save and quit, and then that will bring you back to the beneficiary profile. If I want to continue, which I will, I'm going to hit save and continue. And now I can put in, at this stage, I can also do this later, I can put in the pharmacies and the doctors, okay? So for the pharmacies, you can type in, you have to type in at least 3 characters, and the zip code is very important. This is the center of that zip code, and then the radius is 10 miles out. It is a dynamic radius. So let's say up there in your area, there might be somebody that lives in a very remote area, and the nearest pharmacy is 12 miles away or 15 miles away from that center of that zip code. Well, what we'll do, if that's the case, instead of showing no results, we will dynamically expand that radius to allow more pharmacies to come in, okay? But that is specific on that particular pharmacy. And if it's out of that range, you probably are trying to do a pharmacy that has a different zip code, okay? You can do up to 3 pharmacies, okay? You can't do more than 3. And the doctors, the zip code works the same. This is where the doctor is registered. So I'm in the Phoenix area, and I know that there's doctors all over the place here where they might be practicing in Scottsdale. They might have a clinic in Chandler. They might have one in Peoria. So it's all over the place. Well, which zip code do you use? Do I Google this? No, please don't. That's going to be very time consuming for you. What I recommend is opening up another browser here, and we do have an enhancement request to add this link in here at some point with like a little tooltip. But what I do is I open up a link here, and then let's see, what is it? What is it called, Allison?
You can just put in NPI registry and it should pull up.
NPI registry, that's what it is. Okay. NPI registry. Thank you. I had a brain lapse. Clay, you should know more about this. Okay, yes, I know. So what I'm going to do, this brings me up to the screen where that doctor is registered, right? I don't know the zip code. That's what I'm trying to get. So I'm going to put in a doctor first and last name. Ben, can we use a real doctor? Do you know of one?
You said a real doctor?
Yeah, because I want to have like a real.
Yeah, let's see Paul Jackson.
Okay, so Paul Jackson. Now, I don't know what zip code again. I know the state is Michigan, right?
Yes.
Hopefully it's not a crossover to another state. So we'll do Michigan, and then all I'm going to do is do search, and there's Paul Jackson.
That's
and
him.
the zip code. Okay. So I'm going to take that zip code, bring it back over into Trusty, paste it, and then I'm going to put in Jackson. I can put in Paul if I want to as well. And this is going to pull up Paul Jackson right there. Okay. So Allison, do you mind putting that out there in the chat, that NPI registry link?
I'm trying to. Ben, I might have to send it to you. The only people I can chat to is Clayton or you. I'm going to send it to you, Ben.
You got it, Allison? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. All right. So now let's add medications. Okay. And you can add as many doctors as you want. We do have your podiatrist, we have the cardiologist, the family doctors, everything is in there. Okay. And one of the neat things you can do too is I can put in family, and this will pull up all of the just the family clinics, the family, what do you call them? Man, I'm struggling with words today.
Like
General, the family practice.
Not a primary care?
Yes, thank you. Man, all right. Okay, so you can type in what their specialty is. If I wanted to say cardiologist, it'll show me all those. If they don't know the doctor, but you know that they want to call it cardiologist on the plan, you can do that based on that. Now, I do get the question, can I put in the group like Blue Cross Blue Shield, or can I put in, or not Blue Cross Blue Shield, sorry. We'll say Banner, because that's a popular one here in the Arizona area. Banner Health System. If I put in Banner, it's not going to pull the doctors that are associated with that specific group. We can't do it to that level. And honestly, that sometimes is a little bit risky, because a doctor might be part of that group one day and then out of that group the next. And so That's one of the risks as well. Okay,
Hey,
so
Clayton, PAs are included on here as well, right?
yep, PAs as well. Yes. Yep. All right, to add medications, we're going to click on the button Add Medication, and then I'm going to search for, let's say, Zidra, which is an eye drop. And this is going to come up with a default dosage here. So it is a 5%. It does come in a little pack. And so I'm going to put in 1, and I'm going to do every month, and then make sure you hit add medication. If you do this and then just hit next, it didn't save. You have to make sure you hit add, and then that solidifies it right there. Now I'm going to add another one. What's another good one, Allison?
That's in a package.
No, what's the inhaler? Albuterol. Let's do albuterol because that's a popular one. So here, there's multiple forms that you can get this in. There's the inhalation solution, and so on and so forth. You can have the tablet. I'm going to go ahead and just select the inhalation. Is that the normal one, Allison?
Go to
dose, the micrograms.
yeah, go to one of those. Yeah.
So we'll do the one for Benylin. That's what I was looking at. Okay, so this is one inhaler. I'm going to put in 1. I'm going to do frequency of month, add medication. Okay. Now I'm going to hit next. And what this is now going to do is I put in all my information, right? Now it's going to give me a quote and show me first the PDPs. I do also have the Medicare Advantage plans if I wanted to see those here as well. Okay. Let's talk about the PDP first. If you notice, there are filters over here on the left. And those are filters that are also on the Medicare Advantage, but Medicare Advantage has more options available. Okay. So with PDP, you can narrow this down. So let's say, I know for a fact, they love Mutual of Omaha. Okay, well, let's see what they have for Mutual of Omaha. This is going to show every single plan, every single plan available to them. And it is sorted by, not the premium by default. Notice how there's one for $71. Clay, there's something wrong. Nope. That is correct, because how we're sorting this is by the estimated RX out of pocket plus the plan premium. So you can see how that gets bigger. Okay. So that's kind of how that works. If you notice, we have digital direct enrollment available. Any plan card, I call these plan cards, that has that, we will be able to enroll them directly through Trusty Select Pro, directly into the carrier. You don't have to print an app. You don't have to fill it out by hand. You don't have to go to their site. Everything can be done right here in the system. And I'm going to show you how to do that enrollment tomorrow. Okay. If I want to do based on the pharmacy, this is a really cool part too, because pharmacies are very important. Okay. So let's say this pharmacy has to be in network. Okay. Well, when I click that, Clay, nothing changed. I still have 24 results. Well, that's because CVS is in network, but we don't know at that point, is it standard or is it preferred? So if I want to see all the plans that are preferred, I check that, and then now it's going to get rid of all the noise, and it's only going to give me the plans where CVS pharmacy is preferred. There's 13 of those plans. Okay. So that's going to speed up your quoting process as well, because you don't have to go in and try to figure out, okay, which one has this. It's just going to show you those. Okay. Let's see let's go over here to the Advantage plan. Okay, because these, we have a few different options here for you to review. So again, the carrier works the same. The pharmacy and network works the same as well. If I only wanted to see those, see, I have 25 where I did have 68. There's more options here as well. So you have your type. If I wanted to see only PPOs, I can do that. HMOPOS, so on and so forth. Okay. The SNPs. So I know that's a pretty common one here. So we can do the DSNP. Okay, so there's 16 of those plans. It just got rid of all the other noise, and it's still filtering by estimated out of pocket plus the plan premium. Okay, you can change that if you want to down here on the bottom, the sort by. You can add by clicking the sort options. You can do whichever one you want. And you can even stack them. You can say, okay, I want this, and then I want it to sort it by, let's say, the drug plan total, and then I want it to do this. It's going to do it in that order that you specify. Okay. So if I add this, I want to do it by the drug premium first, then sort it by that, it will do that. Okay. Just make sure you hit apply to set those in place for you. Okay. Now let's talk about the other important thing here, and that's the doctor coverage. Well, Clay, I can't click on those. This isn't showing me all those plans. Oops, let me uncheck that so we can get all of them. What you have to do first is activate those doctors, meaning let's go out and grab those doctors. And now see how I can click on those. So here's Paul Jackson. He is in network for 59 of those plans. Okay. If I want to select Dr. Kim, what I'm telling the system now when I have both of these selected is I have to have the plans where both of these doctors are in network. Don't show me anything else. Okay. If I want to see Dr. Kim, well, obviously Dr. Kim is the one that it doesn't have the most. So that's where the 10 is. Okay. So a pretty powerful tool there. Any questions on this part before I go in and compare plans and actually show the plan details? Do we have anything in there, Alison?
I have a few questions that go back to when you were entering in the doctors.
Mhm.
So I think you usually use the example for like you can search by cardiologist and like that type, right? So is there a primary care, like a PCP option?
Yeah, you can just type in primary. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. And then the same thing for like a PA.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, and then it will show all those. Yep.
Okay. I do have a question that you'll probably get to when you go into the next page, but it was just about the medication costs. Is it now going to show like match what's on the carrier website, or will it still be a little bit different because of the way that we do our pricing?
Well, it's we're never going to match identical to everything because there's a little component that we put in there. And that is what's actually being paid at the register. So the carrier reports to CMS on a regular basis. And then what we do is we say, okay, they selected this pharmacy. If the drug is done there, what we see is when they fill it, this is what's actually being paid, okay, at that register. And so we take and average that in. So it's going to be just a little bit here and there, like if you're comparing to Medicare.gov or you're comparing to that. But yeah, it is pretty close, pretty close from what I've seen. You're not going to have huge variations. If that does that answer your question?
I think so.
Okay. Okay, so let's compare plans. So we can compare up to 2 plans, and this is the same whether it be PDP or MAPD. With the MAPD comparison, it is not comparing the benefits, it's comparing the drugs of these. Okay, so let's say I want McLaren, and let's do Zing. I'll put these check marks here, and now I'm going to click compare plans. And this will show me side by side Zing and McLaren. There I can see the costs. I can see the pharmacies. So CVS is standard for both of these. Estimated monthly costs. So that's for standard, or if I were to do preferred. And then the monthly cost breakdown. What those drugs look like. Okay, so this one's not covered at all. And then we have our doctor coverage over here. Okay, so Paul Jackson is in, but he's out for both of those. Okay, so had we selected Paul Jackson in that filter, all of these plans wouldn't have even shown up in that. Now I can email this just by clicking that and then clicking the email, and I'll show this to you here shortly, or I can print this if I wanted to as well. And this is what it looks like when it goes to the beneficiary as well. It will have side by side, and then it has your drug totals or your drug information down here as well. Okay, it's going to have your doctors as well as the drugs, and your there's your pharmacy as well. Okay, and then here's your doctors. I kind of got ahead of myself. Okay, so that's how we compare. Now, what I'm going to do is go into the details. Okay, so let's pick, what's a popular plan, Ben, that we can look at? Probably HAP, right?
Yeah, let's look for a HAP or a priority maybe. I don't like to choose favorites though.
I know we can't. Don't. Maybe I shouldn't have asked that question.
I love them all equally.
I was just thinking a common one that you guys are used to seeing. Okay. Note to self, don't ever ask that during training. Okay. Just delete that from the recording. Okay, so this right here will show you there's a lot of enhancements that we have from this. If you've seen the system a while back, this is going to be completely new for you. We do have the pricing based on that specific pharmacy as well. When it comes in, it's defaulting to just retail preferred, but you can take and flip this to say, I want to see what the CVS pharmacy is, okay, for that. It just so happens it didn't change. Sometimes it doesn't change, but sometimes, depending on which pharmacy it is, the totals might change just a little bit, okay? Let's see, this information right up here at the top, this is for that month. Okay, these are averages. So we're actually going to put a note in here. It's going to say average estimated drug costs. So this is going to say what is the average of all months added up divided by how many are in there. So 4 months divided by whatever the total was, right? Of course, it's going to be 128.28, right? But this is per month on this, okay? The deductible applies to tiers. This is based on the plan. This will change. Some plans, it's all tiers. Some plans, it's just 3, 4, 5. But this is a new thing as well where it does change based on that. The drugs covered, let's see, we picked a plan where they're not covered. Let me go back and pick a different one. Well, I'm striking out. Ben, I might undo these filters and just pick one. Here we go. I'm going to pick this one because I have 2 drugs covered here for you. So I do have the options here, right? So it's $22.31. The drug cost down here, we do have the estimated retail costs, and this shows all the time. This is a difference for those of you that have seen the system before, where we did have before deductible in here, and it was kind of confusing. And so now we've listened to the feedback, and we just have the estimated retail costs all the time in there, okay? The only time that you will see that where it shows like the same is when the cost of the medication is less than the copay, we're going to show the copay. So like if it is a $10 copay, but the drug is $7.50, it'll say 10 right there, just so there's no surprises when they go to the pharmacy. So that will show retail cost or the copay, whichever is higher. And the tier matches up here at the top. And the one thing that we do have different in here as well is this one doesn't have it, but this particular plan. But if they did have other tiers, specialty tiers, so like a tier 6 or the tier 12, tier 11, those are valid tiers, you would see that right here. And then it would explain what that drug is or what the phase costs are for that. Okay. So we did stop at 5 before, but now if that plan does have more, we will show those. The other thing here is we have initial, so that you never get out of the initial phase with these particular drugs. But if you did, you would have a slash and then what phase they're going into. So initial / gap. So you would go into the gap, and then this will start to kind of change colors as well as you go through. It's very clear what phase they are in. That's definitely a big change as well. Now, if you'd like to view the graph, you can view the graph as well. Okay. If you want to view the price breakdown, this is going to show you both. You have the monthly, you have the graph, but then this view that you might be used to seeing is the actual costs for everything, right? So you have your Part B premium, plan premiums, drug costs, and then your total. It adds everything up for you over to the right. Okay. I'm going to go back to the details page. If you have any questions, again, how these drugs are calculated, this little pop out right here will explain exactly how that is calculated, to go back to your question that you had a moment ago. The pharmacies show up down here at the bottom. Again, preferred in network, you're going to have a star. And I think I've touched on just about everything in here. You can print this. If you do print, it will show up, it'll open up a new tab, and then it'll be every single page that you have. The plan details. So that's one thing I forgot that we're on an MAPD. So I'm going to show you those plan details, but this will show you the details of that plan in this printout as well. Okay. Let me show you. If you want to print that, you can. I do get the question every now and then, Clay, I just want to have the drugs page 1 and page 2. Do I have to print everything? Sure, you can print just those pages. When you do hit print, you're going to have pages, and then you can select which pages you want to do right here within the print option. Okay. Let's go back into Trusty so I can show you the MAPD. So this is the part D. Right here in the top left, you have the MAPD. Okay, this is going to show you the plan benefits. Okay, everything up here in the header stays. And then this is going to explain what that particular plan covers. Okay. I'll scroll all the way down. Here's your doctors. Are these doctors in network? This is going to show on the details page. Clay, is there any way we can have the link to the summary benefits or the other documents that the carrier might have? Not at this stage. When we actually go through the enrollment process, then we can pull everything down that the carrier has available, the ENOC, the summary benefits, any other details that they need to have. We will button those up, and you can actually send those to your beneficiaries at that point. But at this stage, we don't have that link in yet at this particular stage, but the enrollment stage, we do have that linked up to the carrier. Any questions on this page? I think I covered everything.
Don't see any, but go ahead.
I was just saying nothing at the moment.
Okay. I'm just looking at my agenda really, really fast. Okay, comparing two plans, did that. All right. Ben, do you guys do MedSup?
Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let me show you how to do that. Now, if I wanted to select one of these plans, I would just hit save, and that would save it to their profile. I'm going to save. To be able to do a MAPD quote, there are a couple of steps you need to take. So the first thing you would do is select a PDP plan and just hit save. If they don't have one, they just want the SUP, you still need to save. Okay, just save any plan, it doesn't matter. But this will bring you to a screen here where you now will be able to do the Medigap supplement quote. And this will allow you to quote for any plan that's available in their region and for any type. Okay, this right here is just going to pre-apply these particular pieces or components to the plan. So I'm going to go ahead and hit run a Medigap quote. And we do use CSG for these. That's where the data comes from. Okay, so now this is going to give me all the plan. Again, you can see by my scroll bar on the right, they're all here. There's a lot of plans. I don't really want to scroll through all of those. Yes. So what you would do is use the filtering over here on the left. Okay, so let's say you have somebody come in and you want it to be an attained age plan. It's going to filter those out. Okay, there's a lot that are attained. So if I wanted to do issue age, there it would be based on the issue age there. If you want to view the details, just click view details. It's going to have your other benefits for travel, and then your hospital, and then your medical, and then your DME information as well. Okay, you can print or you can email this, and it buttons every one of those tabs up into a separate page. Here, I'll show you. And there you go. Okay, so each one has its own page with the detail. There you go. And again, you can print this off, or you can email it to your client as well. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and let's say, again, you can, if they do have a household discount, you can apply that household discount. It's going to spin and go ahead and do that calculation. So like this one is 7%. Because it is based on the premium for the filtering in this, you'll see how it just changed. It applied that household discount. And so these are all kind of ordered according to that now. If you do see that this might be a few dollars difference, that's because they probably have an EFT discount and we automatically apply that discount in this. Okay. So don't be alarmed. That's just all part of it. Okay. I can go ahead and save that plan. So just a random plan. And then I would hit save again. Okay. So I'm going to hit save. And now that, let me clear this filter from earlier. Ben Training has a PDP with a plus sign next to it, meaning there is a MedSup as well. And then this is the quoted plan that we looked at. I'm going to set my status to in progress. And then that is going to line us up for tomorrow when we do the enrollment. Okay. So now, before I get into the profile and explaining the profile, is there any questions that came through at this point that I need to answer?
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't see anything.
Okay. So let's go in and go into the profile. So how I did that, again, let me just show you. I just clicked on the name. Okay. Excuse me. So this is what we've been creating. Okay. So when we entered in the beneficiary, I had the base information. Now, if I want to, I didn't enter the phone initially, but I can put that phone number in here. And then the street address, if I want to, I can put that street address in here as well. Okay. The MBI number, again, if you have that, it's good to put that in because whatever you put in here is going to save you time later when you do the application, when you do the enrollment, because all of this is going to feed right into the enrollment application. Okay. So I'm going to just hit save changes. There's my phone number. Now I have the options here where I have the quoted PDP. There's my quoted Medigap. My current plan, remember when I entered in this beneficiary, I entered WellCare as their current plan. If I want to edit that, I can just click edit, and then that will allow me to edit which plan that is. Okay. If I wanted to see more, this is going to take me to the plan details. And that will show me again what, the costs and the doctors and all that stuff. That's what that's going to show me here. Now, the effective date, the tobacco, pretty self-explanatory here. You can edit those fields by clicking on that and then selecting. Now, the pharmacy, this is where you can put in up to 3. If you do have 3, it will not let you add any more. And it will give you a message saying you cannot add any more pharmacies in there until you remove one. Okay. But if you want to, you can add, again, it works the same based on that zip code of where the pharmacy is. Let's say Walmart. And then I'm going to hit add selected pharmacies. Okay. Again, you're going to type in that blank space right there. And then I'm going to do provider. So the provider works exactly the same way as well. You're going to add more if you need to add more, and then you'll have the doctor zip. And again, that is where you would want to look for the zip code via this method here that I showed you earlier with the MPI registry. Okay. The unlimited for the doctors as well. The drugs, this allows you to edit the medication by clicking the pencil. You can remove the medication or add another medication via the exact same method that we had before on the other screen. Okay, there's no difference there. You can add as many medications as you want as well. Okay, the notes, this is something that's pretty handy, especially for AEP. As you guys are working, it's good to put a note in here sometimes, you know, if you need to follow up on something. Still waiting on medications. There you go. It's going to have the date and then who the consumer is and what that note is. And then you can delete that note as you wish. It does default to the all, so to see all the notes, but let's pretend we're in the middle of AEP and you guys use the notes like crazy. You want to see just this week only or today. You can do that. Okay. You can filter those out. Activity history is pretty neat because what this does is it will show you what's been going on with their account. Okay. So you see that we edited the pharmacy. I edited their personal info. I put in another pharmacy. I put in their phone number. So it's going to track all of that information. This is handy because you can see where did you leave off. You know, let's say you don't talk to them for 4 months. See, what was the last thing we did? Oh, okay. We put in personal info and they updated their medications. Okay, we're good. That was 4 months ago. So you can kind of go from there. It will include the application being submitted. It'll include the SOA being sent, all that stuff. Okay, so there's a plethora of activity statuses here that you can use. I think I might have, yeah, these are just the basic ones. Yep. Now the document repository, you can upload any type of document in here. You can do JPEGs, you can do let's see, these are all fake people, but we'll put these in. I'm going to hit confirm, and then that is going to load that particular document in here for me. Again, as many documents as you want, any type of document as you want. There is a 10-year plus the current year retention policy for our document repository. So as long as your account is active, you're good. All of that will be there. Okay, so so that is that retention policy there. If you do have a scope of appointment, you won't upload that scope of appointment this method. Okay, I'm going to show you this tomorrow, but we're going to do the scope of appointment this method. This is how you have to upload those, or else it won't recognize it as a scope of appointment. And then your enrollment, you'll just start going in circles in your mind. Like, I uploaded my scope of appointment. Why is it still saying I need one? Well, if you uploaded it here, we have no idea if that was a scope of appointment. This method here, upload, this box right there is what tells us that's a scope. Okay. So just kind of a mental note there for you. Scopes are not via this method right here. They're for this right here. And I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. That's why what Ben was saying, it's a 2-part training. So please come tomorrow as well. Enrollment history is a pretty neat thing here, because what this will do is you go through the enrollment process and you submit the enrollment through Trusty Select Pro. You're going to have a running history of what that particular apparently I need to take more B12 plan, the plan that you enrolled in. Goodness. It will all show right here. Okay, and it will give you the application confirmation number and all that. Okay, so you can refer back to that. Let's say that you haven't touched this beneficiary in a while and you want to send them their current medication list and just have them verify all of their information. You would do that by clicking the beneficiary details. And then this is going to pop up. It's going to download. I'm going to click on this, and then you'll see it has all of the information here. So you can send this to your client and say, hey, is everything right? Or do we need to change anything? This is a new feature. Okay, this is something that has been asked for a long time. And we built this out, and this is now available. And this is what I was telling you earlier. You can export all of these up to 80 at a time, and it will zip everything up, and then you can have them in a folder, or you can do them one at a time like I just did. But this is what that looks like: medications, pharmacies, and doctors. Okay. If there's no doctors, let's say, it would just show a dash on one line, and that's it. Okay. Any questions on that on the profile.
I've got a question. It must have been when you were entering in medications. They said that they had a message that a drug was not reported. I don't know.
Oh, in the details. Yeah, so that is something that is actually being fixed tonight. So what happened is when the information gets reported to us from CMF is from CMS, if there's something that doesn't match up exactly with how it's being reported, our system doesn't recognize that. And so what we have to do is go in and flip it on the back end in the code. And that's what happened. And so that is being fixed tonight in our release that is scheduled.
Okay.
Tonight, I don't want to give you a definite time because our testers have to test and we have to release and all that stuff. So by tomorrow, you'll see that in there.
I don't see anything else.
Okay. Do you want to? I finished, I think, on schedule, so I'll turn it back over to you, Allison.
I don't know, Ben, if you want to open it up for people to come off of mute, if anybody has any questions about anything that Clayton went over.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you guys have questions, I can take you off mute so we can talk, or you can put them into the question answer and or the chat over there. Great, thank you, Britta. And again, I hope you guys all attend tomorrow as well. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the really juicy stuff like the scope of appointment, the direct enrollment. The blue button import is a really handy thing that will save you guys a lot of time. So I highly recommend showing up.
Yeah, do you want to pull up that agenda for tomorrow, Clayton? We can just kind of give everybody a preview.
And I did get a couple questions about this.
Sure.
I will, everybody in attendance, I will be sending the recordings of this when I have it available. This will also be on our YouTube page, probably by next Monday, Tuesday, next week. Tomorrow it'll be again at 3 o'clock, John. If you don't have that registration link, I can send that over to you so you can get registered.
Cool. So this is just the agenda for tomorrow. That way, if there's specific topics that you know that you want to attend for, we're going to go through the blue button import, a quick way to upload your beneficiaries' information, scope of appointment, the different ways to collect that and save it onto their profile. We do have this batch processor, this instant plan and RX review, which is a great way to run those Part D or PDP plans to compare. And then one of the main things is going to be direct enrollment, show you how to do that, answer all your questions. And then at the end, I'll go through some different support and training resources, some different ways that you can search for any issues that you're having, enter in tickets, all that good stuff. All right. Anything else that came in, Ben? I don't think. Let me see.
Man, I was talking this whole time on mute.
Right, sure you were.
Suzanne Barron, by the IAD site, it will be on IAD's YouTube channel, but not our website. What time tomorrow? 3 o'clock. Yeah, that Transamerica Medigap, I think you are correct there. So I have seen on CSG some funkiness that, like he said, all the Medigap quotes come from CSG. So if it's messed up on there, it'll show up on here as well. I will look into that though, because maybe they came back and didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, and if you need to, on any of those that come through, Ben, please feel free to open up a ticket.
Okay, great.
Into that as well.
Is there anything, I mean, if it's, like I said, if it's messed up on CSG, is there anything that you guys can even do on your end?
We can contact them, yeah.
Okay.
What I would do is I would do some investigation myself and see if I can kind of see Is there something just disconnected, or is that really how the API is tied in? Is that how it came over? If that's the case, then we would work with CSG and have them fix the API. That's a lot of nerdy talk. I'm sorry. But yeah, we would work with them.
Cool. All right. Any other questions, anybody? So Clay and Alison, thank you guys so much for doing this, and we will hopefully see everybody tomorrow.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Thank you.